It's 2 months into 2020, and at the beginning of the year, a lot of us made New Year's resolutions, whether it was to the benefit of ourselves, the people around us, or the environment. But when we establish these resolutions, we have a hard time keeping them. I know I've tried to make so many New Year's resolutions and changes in my life, but it's been virtually impossible to see them through. I mean, even my dad said he was going to go to the gym every day. That lasted about a week. You see, it takes a lot of time and commitment, and it's hard for all of us, but over the last year, I've been working on a project that also requires a lot of time and commitment. And with this project, I've taken a different approach. An approach that, had I not taken, I wouldn't be alive today. 2 years ago, I went to the hospital for a medical checkup, and at the end of the day, the doctors asked my parents if they could see me again, and again, and again. For the next week, I was hooked up to so many different wires and tubes from different machines, poked and prodded, and whenever I asked the question, no one would give me a straight answer. Until when my parents finally took me home. And they said the 4 words that every kid hates to hear. We need to talk. They were holding a big file with KO Hospital written all over it. And while I knew what they were about to tell me was bad, I wasn't prepared. My organs were shutting down. And as crazy as that may sound, in retrospect, I should have seen it coming. My skin was constantly cracked and bleeding. My heart rate was dangerously low. My immune system was so weak. I was constantly sick and my cuts wouldn't heal. I had been experiencing so many physical symptoms for the longest time, but they had gone unnoticed because the chemical imbalances in my body affected my cognitive functioning, my ability to think. My grades were slipping. I couldn't remember anything I was told, and I was constantly angry and depressed. And as medical testing continued, more and more physical symptoms were uncovered and kept piling on one another, burying me under all this weight. At my lowest, I felt that it was best to just give up. My brain, my body, my pain, everything that I went through was all caused by something that seemed so common. We never give it a second thought. Nutrition. It was strange to me at the time, but the matter of the fact was I was malnourished. Malnutrition refers to excesses, imbalances, and deficiencies of nutrients. And while my situation was extreme, it can occur based on a single nutrient. For example, the lack of vitamin B12 can cause depression, memory loss, and dementia. And the overconsumption of vitamin B12 can lead to constant nausea, anxiety, and vomiting. This could happen to anybody, even any of you. When the hospital learned just how severe my condition was, I was put into recovery effective immediately. And it took a long time, and a lot of hard work, and relapses and trips back to the hospital, but eventually things got better. My organs were inching back to being normal. I saw minor improvements like grades getting slightly better or cross-country times shedding a couple seconds, but over time, I saw so many improvements that I was just becoming happier. And it was through this I realized what foods, what nutrients we put in our body is really important. But also, the basic nutrition education does not go as far as it could to help us. I mean, it did for me, and look where I'm at. Also, for a lot of people, even education won't be enough to save them. Compiling data on hunger and obesity from the World Health Organization, 1.41 billion people in our world experience fatal conditions of malnutrition. In addition, they also report that malnutrition is the #1 threat to public health across the world. And it was when I truly understood the importance of nutrition, the inaccessibility of knowledge, and the experience of the 1.41 billion people in our world that set me on my path towards change. My first takeaway is something called being receptive to a catalyst. You see, with every change, there's a catalyst, something that causes a reaction setting us on the direction of change. And it's important to understand that with every catalysts are all around us and can literally be anything. For me, it was that file from KO Hospital. But for others, it could be a video they see, a statistic they hear, or even a TED Talk. Every person and every change have different catalysts, but it's up to us to acknowledge them when they come our way and to understand them. My catalyst did its job, and it gave me the initial push to start some work. I began by transferring all that anger, depression, and potential into a notebook, which over time evolved and continued to evolve into the project I've been working on for the past year, a business selling nutrition bars. You see, in Japan, nutrition bars are an incredibly unsaturated market, and if I was able to make a product that was good enough that people would actually buy, it would establish a network where I could educate people on how proper nutrition can be beneficial to one's physical health, mental well-being, education, and more. And through the business model, if I was able to generate profits, I'm pledging on donating a portion of them to NGOs battling malnutrition. It's been a colossal amount of work and challenges so far, but what's kept me motivated to push through these obstacles is my second takeaway: turning emotion into motivation. While a catalyst is what set me on the direction of change, the reaction from that catalyst is emotion. Whether it's pain, guilt, passion, joy, or anything at all, it's what made us want to make the change in the first place. And it's when we feel low, or unmotivated, or face adversity, we need to remind ourselves and relive that emotion to get us going again. This second takeaway is definitely the hardest one to enforce because it takes the longest time. But it's what made those scribbles in a notebook into a project beyond me, and that project into an official company. Exactly 2 weeks ago, on February 12th, 2020, I became the founder and CEO of Genki Products Japan. Now look, I'm only 15 years old. This company isn't going to save the world from malnutrition or anything. I mean, I've obviously never run a company. But whether it grows or fails, I am not going to stop trying to help people, because that is what I initially set out to do. Bringing me to my third and final takeaway. Internalize the belief in change until it becomes a part of you. Incorporate your goal into who you want to be, not what people think you should be. Because the moment we start basing our goals on the phrase, I should do blank, then the chance of us accomplishing them becomes severely low. Our goals should be something that we're constantly thinking about and reflecting upon and truly care about to give it all the more reason to follow through. Now, I know change is really tough, and it's an ongoing process, but we can tackle any kind of change with the right mindset. And that mindset begins with being receptive to a catalyst that sets us on our path. And when times are tough, we use our reactive emotions to get us going again and push through obstacles. And finally, we internalize that belief in change so much that it becomes part of our identity. And with this mindset, we can achieve almost anything. We can change anything to the benefit of ourselves, the people around us, or the world. Thank you.